Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good day. Today we are going to learn IUPAC nomenclature of organic compounds, and the video will be very short. So in each and every organic compound, it comprises of three parts. For all organic compounds, they must have three parts. Number one, prefix. The prefix can be one, two, or more than that. And the roots, which is the parent structure, which is the main chain or a cyclic. When you say the main chain or the parent chain, it means that the one with the longest carbon chain. Then we have the suffix, which is the principal functional group. So what we need to understand in organic chemistry, whenever you are given organic compound, the first thing that you need to do is actually to identify the prefix, the roots, and the suffix of that organic compound before giving its name. So you see, this is organic compounds. So as I said, if you are given any organic compound, the first thing that you need to do is try to identify these three components, prefixed, the roots, and the suffix. So now we can see that we have three prefixes. Remember, I told you that the prefix can be more than one. So here we can clearly see that we have one prefix here, and we also have another one prefix here. But the main root is the one with the longest carbon chain. That is the longest carbon chain. You see, so we have one here, we have two carbon here, and we have three carbon here. We have five carbon, then we have six carbon. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 5 carbon in all. So this means that the roots, the parent, is the pentan, that is the root, while the suffix is actually based on the functional group. But you can clearly see that in this compound we have three functional groups. We have OH functional group, we have alkyl functional group, and we have alkene functional group. Where do you have alkene functional group is because all the carbon in the compound are all have single bond. So that is why they are alkene. So we have three functional groups, but when naming, you have to give a priority. There is a priority or a ranking of the selection of the VIX functional group that will be considered as a suffix. So here, the aldehydes or the alkyl functional group is given high priority. That is why it is ending with al, that is pentanol. But if the priority is given to this one, so you see that at the end it will end up of having OL functional group, that is alkanol OH functional group. And if the priority is given to alkene, so the name here, the suffix will end up with ane. But with time, in this lecture, we are going to look at how some compounds are given higher priority in terms of the suffix than the others. We are going to introduce that before the end of the class. Okay, then, so the root name, these are the root name. So we need to know this. These are the root name in organic chemistry, or the word. So you see, if the compound have only one carbon, so the root word is meth. If it is 2, is eth. If it is 3, is prop. If it is 4, is but. If it is 5, is pent. If it is 8, oct. 9, non. If it is 20, icos. If it is 14, is tetra, dec. So what I want to us to understand, the suffix depend on the functional group. Like for example, if the suffix is COOH functional group, it means carboxylic acid. So the suffix will be oic. So at the end, by adding the root name and the suffix, will end up of having methanoic acid if it is only one carbon. But if the suffix is CHA, which is the functional group of alkanol, so here instead to call oct, because the functional group is CHO, so it will be octanol. So we'll see this. And then, so look at this. We are now going to look at, if we have a compound, how are we going to identify the root name? So the root name are usually identified based on the longest carbon chain. So the longest carbon chain here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the root name will be pent because the longest carbon chain is 5. So that is why we have pent. So you see here, we are able to identify the root name. So then the next thing is prefix. We have two types of prefix or prefix. They are written before the root word. Usually if we have a prefix, so they are usually come before root word. Like for example, okay, in IFAC nomenclature, so we should know if we have a prefix, they usually come first before the root name. And it indicates the presence of side chain or substituent in the given organic compound. So it will give you an idea whether you have a side chain or you have a substituent in the given organic compound. And we have two types of this prefix. We have primaries prefixed, we have primaries prefixed, and we have secondary prefixed. For the primaries prefix, is indicate the cyclic or acyclic nature of the given compound. Like for example of primary prefix here, we have cyclohexane. So the primary prefix here is cyclo, while in the case of the secondary prefix, it indicates the presence of side chains or substituent. So look at it, we have methyl here. Methyl is a secondary prefix, so we have 3-methylpentane. And remember that I said that the prefix always come before the root word or root name. Okay, so therefore we have methyl here. So we have 3-methyl as a secondary prefix. Okay. So I think it is clear. For the primary, we have like cyclo, while for the secondary, we have side chain or substituent. And example here, we have methyl, where we have pentane as a parent chain. Okay. Okay, then the next thing is suffix. The suffix is usually based on the major functional group present in the molecules, which will be written after the root name. So usually we write prefix after the root name or the root word, and the writing or the suffix is usually depend on the major functional group in the compound. So it can further be divided into primary and secondary suffix. So a primary suffix is written immediately after the word root, as in the case of alkenes, and alkynes. Remember, for the alkanes, the major functional group of alkanes is single bond. So if you have your root name, then you just add ANE. And for the alkenes, the functional group is double bond. and then the root name first, then you add ene. While for the alkynes, the functional group is triple bond and the suffix is yne. So primary suffix is compulsory to write in nomenclature. It's compulsory to write it in nomenclature. So these are the example of primary prefix and the root name. So you see we have methane, meth root name, then the suffix is ane, making it methane. Eth, we have ene, making it ethane, propane, ethane. So for alkenes is ene. Then we have ethene, profene, butene. Then for the alkyl, we have yne. So we have ethyne, profine, butyne, phentyl, etc. Okay, then the next thing is a secondary suffix. The secondary suffix is the major functional group generally written after the primary suffix. So we usually write the secondary suffix after the primary suffix. For example, compound having an alkane, an alkanol group attached to it will be named as an alkanol, with OL being the secondary suffix for alcohol group. So you see we have pent. Fent is a primary, fent is a root name. The ANE is a primary suffix. Then the OH group, which is all, is the secondary suffix. So remember that I said that the primary prefix is compulsory. So that is why we have ane here. We have ane. And this primary suffix can be in forms of single bond, double bond, triple bond. That is alkene, alkenes, and alkynes. So, but for this one, the primary suffix is ane because if you check throughout the chain, they are all single bond. So that is why we have ane. But if assuming that there is, let's say, double bond or triple bond, it will be ene, and the position of the double bond and the triple bond must be indicated. Like for example, now if let's say we have something like this, let's say we have a functional group here, maybe it's double bond here. So if it is double bond here, you count 1, 2, 3. It means that at position 3, we have triple bond. So it will be pent 3 en dash 2 dash all. So the position of the double bond must be indicated. If it is triple bond, let's say we have triple bond here. We have triple bond here. So we must also calculate it. 1, 2. So we'll say pent 2 ene 2 all. So it will be like this. So they are usually compulsory. So that is this. Then the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, is okay. Then the next thing now that we are going to look at is what if 2 or more functional groups are there? So assuming we have 2 or more functional groups. So like for example, in this compound, how many functional groups do we have? We have one here. OH group is a functional group on its own, and then the single bond here. The single bond here are also another double is also another functional group, which is alkane. So we have alkyl functional group and we have alkane functional group. So how do we decide the secondary prefix and the secondary prefix and the secondary suffix? How do we decide? Okay, so here answer is very simple. On the order basis of priority of the functional groups, we can decide. So there is actually the order where we have an order of the priority of the functional group. The one that are the highest will be given higher priority, while those that are lower will be given the lower priority. So the minimum order groups will be given as the lowest primary secondary prefix. So let's look at the listing. So, but how to decide the priority of functional group? We ask ourselves. So there is a table. Just remember this priority table is very, very important whenever you are naming. So this is the priority table. In this priority table, priority is usually given, look at it from the beginning. Here you will see that we have carboxylic acid. Then after carboxylic acid, we have acid anhydride, we have esters, we have ethyl halide, we have amide, we have nitrile, aldehyde, thioaldehyde, ketones, thiones, alcohol. So you see that the priority is given from top to bottom. It means that if you have a compound that contains carboxylic functional group, as acids, anhydrides, nitriles, aldehyde, if you have a compound having these four functional group, so which one will be given the highest priority? The secondary prefix will be given to the carboxylic functional group, and the remaining ones, acid anhydrides, nitriles, and aldehydes, will be considered as a substituent, which is the secondary substituent. They will be considered as a secondary, okay, sorry, not secondary prefix. We'll consider them as a secondary prefix. We'll consider them as a secondary prefix, while carboxylic acid will be considered as a secondary suffix. Okay. That is that. So this table is very, very important. It's very, very essential when naming organic compounds that have multiple functional group. Okay. You see alkenes, alkynes. You see hydrocarbonyl, carbamoyl, cyanoformoyl, thioformoyl, ozo, thioxo, hydroxo, mercaptosulfanyl, amino, alkoxy-oxa, alkyl sulfanyl, alkyl thio. All of them will be considered based on the priority from the top to the bottom. So it's very important to know this. Okay. So you see now we have a compound. We have a molecule that have multiple functional group. You see, we have the first thing, remember that we said in every organic chemistry, there must be three components. There must be number one, the prefix, followed by the parent, then by suffix. So now you see that in this case, we have OH functional group, and we also have alkane functional group. That is, alkane is ANE. So remember we said that primary suffix must always be there. So you know that for the primary suffix must always be there. So, and the root name here, the root name is pent, but the primary suffix is alkane, ANE. So it's alkane, ANE, alkane, ANE. So that is why we have AN here. And the E here will be replaced with the functional group that have the highest priority. And the functional group with the highest priority is OH, which is alkanol. So the OH group will be given higher priority. But remember, the position of alkanol here is at carbon 2. So that is why we said pentantuol, and we have a secondary prefix as CH3 methyl. And if you look at this methyl, if you count from here, we have 1, 2. So at carbon 3 here, we have methyl. So that is why the name is now 3-methyl pentan 2-ol. Okay, that is this. And then, so this is for the compound that have more than one functional group. So I think if you need more videos, you can subscribe to our channel. So thank you for listening.